Hi everybody, Robert Jacobson here from the Recovery Network and fellow alcoholic and drug addict in recovery. Welcome to day one. Today we're going to be studying step one of Alcoholics Anonymous. And today the reason for this study is to really look at all 12 steps. For 12 different sessions and studies of the scripture, we're going to be looking at each individual step, 12 steps total, and we're going to see how they come together from a scriptural perspective. You know, how we can tie these principles into our life and use the Bible and scriptures at the same time. So let's get started. Step one in Alcoholics Anonymous is read this way. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. Now, many will say in recovery that step one is probably the most important step you can take. It's kind of like where we all start. And there's three key words in step one that I really want to dissect and kind of put under a microscope and really look at from a scriptural perspective. Those three key words are admitted, powerless, and unmanageable. Three big things that we actually will be doing when we take step one. You know, I went to dictionary.com and I looked at each of those words. I just kind of want to see what the dictionary had to say about it. And so admitted, this is what they said, that admitted means honorable in principles and intentions, sincere, genuine, respectable, having a good reputation, truthful, and humble. I thought, man, when I was in the middle of my addiction, I didn't have any of those characteristics in my life. I had all the character defects in my life, which means, you know, I wasn't honorable. I wasn't sincere. I wasn't genuine. I wasn't respectable. I didn't have a good reputation. You know, I ruined my reputation. I wasn't truthful. Certainly I wasn't truthful. And I wasn't humble. And so, you know, when we take step one, these are things that we're actually doing. We're kind of, I mean, humility and honesty is a very big part of step one. And we're going to get around to the scriptures and see how those tie into each one. But I want to kind of look at each one of them from the dictionary perspective here right at the start of our study. Powerless is the second one. And powerless says unable to produce an effect. You know, we're powerless over alcohol and over drugs. And I thought this was interesting. It said, a disease against which modern medicine is virtually powerless. I mean, because this is a disease, and we're powerless over this disease. And I thought that was interesting that the dictionary said that. And then it said, lacking power to act, and we're helpless. I mean, that's really what we are. It's like we're powerless and we're helpless. We need a power greater than ourselves to take over our lives, to take over our addiction, to take over all the destruction that we've made in our lives. We need a power greater than ourselves to take that over. Okay, number three, unmanageable. This is what it says. Uncontrollable, uncorrectable, difficult or impossible to manage, not submitting to discipline, and unruly. I mean, do any of these characteristics maybe, you know, sound familiar to you in the middle of your addiction? I mean, I was definitely uncontrollable in my addiction. Uncorrectable. Nobody could tell me anything, denial and everything like that. Difficult or impossible to manage. I mean, I couldn't manage my own life, let alone manage, you know, working properly and things like that, being responsible. I mean, my life was totally unmanageable. So isn't it interesting? I read step one again. It says, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. So by taking that step, realize that you're going to get all of these blessings and all of these character traits are going to come into your life when you just take step one. Let's take a look at the word admitted in the first step from a scriptural perspective, just that word, and see what scripture says. In Romans 1:25 it says, for they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and they worshiped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Now, that was me. It says they exchanged the truth. And that's what we're doing. We're exchanging the truth. When we're in the middle of our addiction, is that we don't really care about God a lot of times. Or we feel guilty, God seems distant to us. And so we exchange the truth of God for the lie. What is the lie? And we worshiped and served the creature rather than the creator. It's like I served alcohol. You know, I served my own fulfillment, my own buzz, my own good time and everything like that. I wasn't serving God. I exchanged serving God for serving the creature, which is actually the devil, which is Satan. And so, you know, we all kind of do that, you know, which is very interesting in our lives, is that we exchange God for the devil. But by taking step one, we're going to get right back into the control of things again. Let's move on. 2 Corinthians 1:9. Indeed, in our hearts, we felt the sentence of death. Wow, what a powerful scripture. Didn't we? I mean, I know I did. I just knew in the middle of my addiction that I was going the wrong road. My self-esteem was shot. I didn't love myself. And by not loving myself, I certainly didn't love others. You know, I felt in my heart, basically what the scripture says, a sentence of death. And then it goes on, but this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who raises the dead. I mean, what joy is that? It's like when we submit to God and want to walk in his ways, the bad things in our life, sometimes when we hit bottom, chase us to God. We are desperate. You might have heard the gift of desperation. That's what I had. I really got so desperate, I thought, I'll do anything, you know. And so it says, but this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, which is what I was doing in my addiction, relying on myself, but we would rely on God, who raises the dead. And that's what he did. He raised somebody who was dead, and he can raise you. If you're dead, you're just starting your road to recovery, he can raise you from the dead and give you a brand new life. 1 Peter 5:6-7 says, humble yourselves before God, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all of your anxiety on him because he cares for you. You know, we have a lot of anxiety when we first start the road to recovery. I mean, everything is new. We new people, if we're going to AA meetings, or if we're working with a counselor or working with a pastor in a church, everything seems new. And, we always fear the unknown. And it says here that cast all of your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Let's move on. Proverbs 23:23 says, buy truth and do not sell it. I love that scripture. It sounds like a stock. You know, buy truth and do not sell it. Get wisdom and instruction and understanding. Wow. 3 powerful words there. Get wisdom, instruction, and understanding.